coming up.
We get the total ban on
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Troubles in office.
His son is a convicted felon.
And troubles at home.
Hunter was larger than life at that time, and I was young and dumb.
Why isn't Joe Biden's granddaughter
Good job, man.
welcome at the White House?
How hurtful was that?
She might have been an oopsie, but she was the greatest blessing. Hell hath no greater fury than a woman whose baby is being scorned.
That's next on 60 Minutes. Is President Joe Biden up to the job or not? Does he have the mental capacity to lead the free world for another 4 years? White House insiders report his family is in no doubt, with son Hunter leading the charge, rallying his father to keep going to defeat Donald Trump. But should the 81-year-old be taking advice from someone whose life for the past decade is best described as a train wreck? Hunter Biden is a former crack cocaine addict, currently facing the possibility of jail time over tax charges and a firearm conviction. But as Amelia Adams reports, less well known, though likewise a mark of the man, Hunter is also the father of a little girl from Arkansas named Navy, who until recently he's fought very hard to deny.
Shoot, only had one end.
It's an extremely unlikely place to find a member of the Biden family. Skeet shooting in Batesville, Arkansas. This southern US state is deep red Republican, Trump-loving territory. And yet, the little girl calling the shots today, 5-year-old Navy Joan, is the president's grandchild.
Oh. All right.
Good job, man.
She's crazy. She's all over the place, and she's large and in charge 24/7. We were shooting skeet today, and, you know, you yell pull so she can push it, but she's the one that's saying pull.
Pull.
Well, maybe I didn't say pull that time.
And you ready?
It's like you don't tell someone when they're ready to shoot it. That's their job.
She's running the show.
She tries to.
Navy Joan's father is Hunter Biden, the US president's only remaining son. But they've never met. Navy's mum, London Roberts, is raising her alone, with plenty of love and support from her own family.
Not every little girl can run around and say, you know, my grandpa is the president of the United States. And that's an honor for someone to say. However, you know, it's also a painful reminder that my child is being unacknowledged and not loved.
And cut out of the first family, essentially.
It's tough. That's right.
Hunter Biden spent years grappling with drug and alcohol addiction.
I went one time for 13 days without sleeping and smoking crack and drinking vodka exclusively throughout that entire time.
His foreign business dealings threatened his father's 2020 presidential campaign. And now, as Joe Biden fights to remain in the White House, his problem child strikes again.
You have a before and an after. And my before is before Hunter, and my after is after Hunter. And, you know, it comes with a lot of pros and cons.
London counts Navy as her greatest blessing. But the little girl came from a period of chaos and darkness. In 2017, Hunter Biden was in the clutches of a crack cocaine addiction, freshly separated from the mother of his 3 children. London was a stripper 20 years his junior. She'll never forget the night they met at a party in Washington, D.C.
You have this man here in front of you in these parrot boxer briefs, and he's got this paraphernalia laid on the table. Even though that stuff's laid out in front of him, it's a genuine hello, and it's a genuine how are you? And you know, what's going on with you? What's happening in your life? Like that's how it was. And it just, from that conversation, I could sit there and talk to him all night. I did.
So he's standing there wearing a pair of boxer shorts with parrots on them. He's got a crack pipe, which he's clearly using drugs. And yet you had this, by your account, a great connection, a real conversation.
From the beginning, like from the moment I looked into his eyes, I had this empathy for him. And I wanted to get to know him better. I wanted to be his best friend. I wanted to be with him. I wanted to be whatever it entailed. I mean, Hunter was larger than life at that time, and I was young and dumb.
So began a casual relationship with a man besieged by trouble and tragedy. Hunter spiralled into addiction after the death of his big brother and best friend, Beau, from brain cancer in 2015.
And I held his hand, and he took his last breath.
It was an insurmountable grief for a man who'd already lost so much. As infants, Beau and Hunter were the only survivors of a car crash that killed their mother and baby sister, just days before a 29-year-old Joe Biden was sworn into Congress.
The first memory I have is of lying in a hospital bed next to my brother, holding my hand, staring into my eyes, saying, "I love you. I love you. I love you."
There's just protectiveness of Hunter Biden because he is the last surviving member of that car crash that took the rest of the Biden family.
Franklin Foer has spent his fair share of time inside the White House as a political reporter and the author of a book about Joe Biden's presidency. He says despite having the biggest job in the world, the 81-year-old has never shied away from Hunter's demons.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter.
Is there an element of Hunter's story that makes Joe Biden more relatable? Every family has its trials and its tragedies, and here we are pulling together, dealing with them.
Yeah, I think that the Trump campaign historically has wielded Hunter Biden as a form of psychological warfare. They know that when Joe Biden begins to talk about Hunter Biden, it's a very destabilizing thing for him. He reacts not as a president or a politician, he reacts as a father.
For a long time, London Roberts was also protective of Hunter, keeping his addiction a secret, even when he was so out of it, his life was in danger.
He's scared. His paranoia is at the level I've never seen it. I kind of watch him and he staggers in and he hit his head. There was a marble coffee table and he hit his head on the coffee table and yelled something about waters of World War II. But, he would always say, this is my addiction. I did this to myself and no one can make me stop but myself. And I won't do that until I'm ready, and I'm not ready yet.
But London stuck around, even when things became absurdly complicated. 3 years after his brother's tragic death, Hunter had a very public affair with Beau's grieving widow, Hallie.
Was that awkward for you? Was that a strange situation to be in?
Yes and no. You saying it out loud, like it sounds crazy, right? But it's part of like the Hunter package. Like he has this way of just like charming it. And him and Hallie made it seem like it was a kind of on and off again type thing. It was a little toxic, and they were both in a dark time and relied on each other to get through that time.
As bizarre as it all sounds, there was another major plot twist in store. Just when most women would have walked away, in 2017, London found herself tied to Hunter Biden for life.
When you first told Hunter that you were pregnant with his child, what was his response?
Initially, when I told him, he just like sits there like, and then you're like, it's yours, and I'll let you process that. And he's like, I know it's mine, and I'll be there for you, whatever decision you make. As a woman, I'll support it, I'll respect it. He told me that he would be there mentally, physically, emotionally, in all the ways, right there in that moment.
But that support didn't last long. With his father, Joe Biden, plotting a run for the White House, Hunter cut off contact with London, refusing to acknowledge their relationship or the pregnancy.
How hurtful was that?
No, it's inexplainable how hurtful that was. You're pregnant and it's not a joyous time. Let's throw in that the father is addicted to drugs. Let's throw in that he's abandoned and ghosted me and I'm alone. Let's throw in that he might just be the next president's son. But I felt like by not saying anything, I was protecting him from having another scandal.
But when her daughter was born, that all changed. London decided she wanted Navy to know her dad.
There was never any me wanting back with him, but I knew the good that was in him. And I knew that, you know, he could be a good father to our child.
Do you see elements of Hunter in your daughter?
I do. You know, she has his eyes and that furrowed brow and everything else, you know, that comes with those eyes. I've had someone ask me before, you know, or say, you have such beautiful eyes. Like, I've never seen eyes like those before. And it's like, do you watch CNN? Do you watch the news? You'll see them there.
Coming up, why London Roberts is fighting so hard for her daughter to be a Biden.
I bet he's gonna love this because it has his favorite color on it and everything.
5-year-old Navy Joan loves going to church on Sundays. Not so much for the sing-alongs, but for the lollies her maternal grandfather slips her throughout the service.
He has one granddaughter and it's Navy, and she gets whatever she wants. She's the reason, or he's the reason she is the way she is a lot of the times. A mess.
He spoils her.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, he's fine.
It's the type of bond London Roberts wishes her daughter could build with her other grandfather, US President Joe Biden. The two men and families are worlds apart. One lives in the White House and runs the country.
I'm gonna tell you what, these stickers cost like $1 a piece.
The other runs a gun shop in rural Arkansas and has been hunting with Donald Trump Jr.
It must be strange. Your dad is a firm Trump supporter, and now he's got a little Biden in the family.
He does. You know, when Donald Trump's son kind of joined the mix, he came up to Dad and, you know, introduced himself, and Dad told him, look, my grandkid's off limits. Like, that's not something we discuss. That's not, I'm not here. Like, there won't be like the bashing Bidens or her father in any way. And he's like, look, man, when it comes to family, I respect it.
Navy's father, Hunter Biden, is the president's son. It took 4 years, but last year, after a lengthy paternity suit, Hunter was forced to admit he is Navy's dad. London finally got the recognition she'd longed for, as well as considerable child support, $20,000 US a month.
Leading in this way.
This isn't just about getting Navy access to the benefits that come with being part of the Biden family.
They made me out to be a gold digger, a one-night stand.
She wants money, she wants fame.
Yeah, no. I'm not looking for benefits. I'm looking for a family to love my child that she loves. Do you need some help?
Whatever her motivation, there's no denying London has made her story public at a critical time for the Bidens, releasing a memoir smack bang in the middle of the presidential campaign. And Hunter is already a prime target.
His son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times.
Last month, Hunter was found guilty of lying about his drug use to buy a handgun.
Never before has the child of a president been found guilty of a crime during their parents' term in office.
The president insisting his son won't receive special treatment.
He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
But the president's patience will soon be tested again. In September, as Americans prepare to head to the polls, Hunter Biden will head back to court. He's accused of failing to pay $2 million in taxes between 2016 and 2019, when his father was the vice president.
This is a tax case that's much more problematic than the drug purchase gun case, because that's a sad case. This other one is a more corrupt case.
Former US federal prosecutor Michael Zeldin knows better than most how legal dramas can turn into political nightmares. He warns it will be hard for the president to distance himself from Hunter's alleged tax crimes.
This is something he could have known about and potentially advised his son against?
Absolutely. And the talking points for the Republicans on this is that Hunter Biden made this money that he didn't report on his taxes as a board member of a Ukrainian energy company, and that he got that position by trading on his father's position as vice president. So that's what the Republicans have been pounding as the corrupt Biden family.
But the Republicans have their own court catastrophes. Their candidate is a criminal.
The only person at this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now.
Donald Trump heads to the polls convicted of falsifying business records. And he's yet to face trials for allegedly mishandling classified documents and conspiring to illegally overturn the 2020 election.
If Trump were convicted of a federal felony of interfering with the orderly transfer of power, I think that is game over for him, which is why he's fought so hard to keep those cases from going to trial.
And they won't go to trial before voters go to the polling booth.
It doesn't seem likely now.
Compared to all that, Michael predicts most voters will see Navy Joan as a relatively harmless Biden family matter. And that's exactly how the White House is attempting to manage it. Last year, Joe and Jill Biden released an extraordinary written statement conceding our son Hunter and Navy's mother London are working together to foster a relationship that is in the best interests of their daughter.
Do you think American voters have scandal fatigue?
I do. If you look at America since perhaps Richard Nixon, essentially every president, save for Barack Obama, has had a scandal during their presidency. And this is just another scandal. So it goes in sort of like, oh, well, here we go again. And that's why I don't think it makes that much a difference in the outcome of the election.
Back in Arkansas, Navy Joan is cheerily oblivious to all the drama and headlines, enjoying a wholesome American upbringing, and finally getting to know her famous father from a distance.
Hey, stay away from cars and don't drive fast.
Her parents have come to an unusual agreement. Hunter pays less child support, but he's now an artist and allows Navy to choose one of his pieces every month. And they're finally in contact, but only via Zoom.
You know, he Zoomed her before, like the day before his birthday, and she said, oh, well, maybe I'll come see you. And it was like, you know, what do you tell her? And he plays it off, but she's very, very anxious for that. That's
aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that difficult for you? Because, I mean, he could get on a plane to Arkansas.
I don't understand, because it seems to me that acknowledging a child publicly and privately is a feather in your cap. But, you know, I do know that he has a lot going on. And so I'd like to chop it up to that, but, you know, people say I make too many excuses for him. I've been prone to give him a little grace when, you know, I probably shouldn't have.
But he's gonna love this, because it has his favorite color on it and everything.
Navy is doing what any 5-year-old would to feel closer to her dad.
I painted it for you, and it's for you, and you can hang it up so the birds can come.
Hunter is now clean and raising his 5th child with his 2nd wife, Melissa. If his father is re-elected come November, London can only hope Navy might finally get to take her place, alongside the other Biden grandchildren.
You know, if Hunter continues to build a relationship and you know, they're able to acknowledge and to love her, then that's something that I think we can consider talking about.
Do you expect that her grandparents might be in touch, or is that something you very much leave to Hunter?
You know, I leave to Hunter, but at the same time, I think as a mother, my heart breaks for her. And that I say, you know, they say, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But I say, hell hath no greater fury than a woman whose baby is being scorned. And she might have been an oopsie, but she was the greatest blessing and the greatest thing I could have ever imagined.
Hello, I'm Amelia Adams. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.